guys and gals? Nary here from Drakewing Gaming, to some of you may on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Minotaur Hotel. So I'm going to be a little quieter in this video because my mate is sleeping behind me, so before we jump into it, just want to let y'all know that our Patreon is now for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel and get some awesome rewards in return, like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming Not Safe for Work videos. All that for as little as $5, y'all. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in. Alarm chain, you were up. Let's go. Alright. She said I would become dangerous. It took a while, but he was swayed. I was carted off and left there with only an axe to fend for myself. In that labyrinth built by the artisan Daedalus. That's what life for me was like in Crete. Isn't it curious how we hold on to memories of childhood? I've existed for thousands of years now. I died young, for my 20th birthday. And yet so much of who I am comes from those 2 decades. I often wondered what life would have been like were I not a hybrid monster. For starters, Mother wouldn't have lost her mind. My sister wouldn't have tried convincing Father to send me off. And I would have a normal childhood. Make no mistake, life back then was not easy, and dying young was not out of the ordinary. A land like Crete had to keep itself armed too. Had I been born fully human, I could have died young by disease, or in early adulthood in combat. Still, that would have been preferable to what I went through. Had I not been sent off to the labyrinth, the gods would not have sentenced me for my cowardice. I'd still be in Hades, in the Asphodel Meadows, where I was supposed to be. Hades. Perhaps Master wished for me to tell happy memories of Crete. I do have a few, quite a few, but I have more from Hades. I was welcome there, as all souls are. Of course, I was no hero and would never see the Elysian Fields. That's where heroes went. But the Asphodel Meadows, where regular souls were sentenced to, was quite pleasant. I even had a job there. The god of the underworld picked me to take part in the border patrol. It was a simple enough duty, patrolling the frontier to catch souls attempting to escape. I shared... This is so ridiculous. Border patrol for souls, and he's living in a house. A soul house? A house for the soul? I don't know, it's so silly. Alright. I shared housing with a cousin. I never even knew I had a cousin until then. His name was Asterion. We had a lot in common. The god of the underworld, Lord Hades himself, took a liking to me. We'd often trained together, and he taught me the underworld's fighting style. Asterion looks down at the counter and drums his fingers on it, lost in thought. I was a good patrolman. I wouldn't have minded staying there. That's about it, I suppose. Does Master have any other questions? What are your favorite foods? My favorite food? Master should not worry about that. I eat the leftovers. Anything will do for me. And it's not like I can die from starvation. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. But surely there are things you prefer, foods you won't eat. Any allergies? Well, if Master truly wishes to know, I don't... I'd rather not eat beef. I have not for thousands of years now. It would be cannibalism. So it's usually poultry and fish for me, or... Well, I did hunt wild goats with my brothers back in Crete. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite foods by far. I didn't get to eat meat often when I was a child. It was a luxury of sorts, and the shipments to the labyrinth rarely had any. It would brought on the way, so they didn't even try. Goat aside, for the longest time, oats were the best I could get. Even today, I have a liking for porridge. And I have a sweet tooth. I always liked fruit and honey, even as a kid, but back in the 1940s, there were so many options. Master Jean-Marie insisted from the start of his mandate that we needed French pastries daily. Traditional baguettes, croissants, and pains de chocolat for breakfast with jam. Macarons every Sunday and tarts after lunch. Making a traditional baguette is no simple matter. I spent many months trying to make a single one which pleased his palate. He allowed me to eat the leftovers every once in a while. Just the thought makes me salivate. I'm so glad. He doesn't finish the thought. Asterion keeps his eyes fixed on you, his ears and tail flickering lazily. Is there anything else you wish to know, Master? You need only ask. What's your favorite memory? Wait, my favorite memory? Second, no, water time. Now that's a tough question. Asterion drinks more of his wine, then rubs his hand against the counter. He sighs, looks to you, then looks back down again a few times. Very hard question, but I think I know. There was a master, Sir Bernard. He was the labyrinth's lord for a few decades, and then passed it down to his son, Sir Robert. When Sir Bernard was on his deathbed, his son transferred ownership of the hotel back to him for a day. As the hotel's returning master, Sir Bernard wrote and signed a contract. Except it was just a letter to me, thanking me for everything. Sir Robert took over again, of course, and he prepared me for something too. I had helped raise him, you see, and he gathered all his childhood drawings of me and signed them as a contract as well. Contracts are everlasting, unless explicitly revoked, so their contracts would last forever. They can't be burned or torn apart. Nothing will destroy them. That is my dearest memory, Robert and Bernard's gifts to me. The contracts, they are everlasting. And I know Clement tore apart the ledger where we kept them. They must be hidden away somewhere. Eventually I'll find them again, even if it takes me years. After all, I have all the time in the world, don't I? The Minotaur takes yet another swig of his wine. He sways left and right, his eyes half closed. I have another memory just as sweet. When I was in the underworld, I made friends. Willem gifted me with a statue of a red ox. He was a herder in life. It was fitting, of course. I brought it with me to this place, the only thing I managed to bring. It was supposed to be in my room, but again, Clement. I was loved, and the letters in the statue, I cherished them dearly. But love needs no gift to be remembered. Asterion looks down again. He holds the wine bottle against his chest. When the conversation naturally exhausts itself, you both let inertia carry you into a comfortable silence. The warm buzz of alcohol in your system does much to ease the day's drudgery, as does the newly rekindled hearth fire's convivial crackle. The seats bear your weight admirably, despite their age, and the rustic scent of wood smoke and fine leather upholstery makes relaxation as effortless as breathing. Though you and Asterion are the only current occupants of the lounge, things seem a little livelier than the stark row of unclaimed stools would suggest. With the hotel's improving condition, each one brims over with potential for future patrons to serve. There's something about firelight's ability to captivate the heart that harkens back to time immemorial. As though written into your bones by the struggles of your ancestors, the dancing shadows stir an impulse that your mind can only dimly direct. For a moment, Asterion's presence is so insubstantial that you feel alone with your thoughts. Out of the corner of your eye, you see his bovine brow crease, eyes slowly flicking back and forth between you and the fireplace. His mouth opens soundlessly for a moment, but closes just as quickly, as though the subtlest perturbation of the air would be enough to shatter the idyllic scene. In the soft light, Asterion's countenance grows soulful, then cold and lucid. Perhaps as a quirk of his immortal body, he seems to sober up more quickly than you were expecting. His gaze finally settles on the fire with the stone-faced focus of a trained guard, alert but betraying no further sign of his feelings. You cannot say how many hours you two have spent before the fireplace, looking with simple, rapt attention at the flame. Heedless of the passage of time, the greedy moment stretches on as long as the compulsions of your biology will allow it. The feeling of your chin hitting your chest eventually jolts you from the quiet reverie. You didn't even notice you were starting to nod off. Bleary-eyed, whether with inebriation or fatigue, you check your phone. It's almost midnight. Asterion furtively steals a glimpse at the clock on your smartphone's screen, but raises no comment about it. Curiosity waylaid by duty, he speaks at last. It is quite late, master. Would it please you if I prepared dinner before you retire for the night? This time I can cook you a proper meal. Ooh. You can see no reason to refuse Asterion's offer. The walk back to your quarters is blessedly brief, and you quickly take a seat on the couch and make ready for your evening meal. While your Minotaur manservant prepares your dinner, there's little to do except lounge on the couch and savor the smells that waft in from your private kitchen. You continue to lapse in and out of consciousness every so often, torn between the gnawing hunger in your belly and the sudden weight of your eyelids. Asterion's presence with your food presents you with your food in short order, bringing a tray of ham steak and mashed potatoes to the couch to spare you the need to walk to the table. Time is it? Okay, 1 second now. Water time. This water is exhausted. Time for another. Now that's more like it. Your tipsy sleep-fogged brain, it seems to your tipsy sleep-fogged brain, it seems a veritable feast. You tear into it with the gusto of a starving man. As you sit up and start to eat, Asterion seems faintly content to see you enjoying his cooking. But old habits die hard nonetheless. The Minotaur bows dutifully before cantering away to let you enjoy your meal in solitude. He's gone before you can think to ask him to join you. Though you know he is but a simple shot away, you think better of asking anything else of him. Once your hunger is sated, sleep is upon you in a moment. You set the tray down at the side of the couch and close your eyes. Ugh, making me sleepy. The last sounds you hear are the faint click of Asterion's hooves against the floor, and the jingling of silverware as he carries your leftovers back to the kitchen. A slow, sneaking clop reaches your semi-conscious brain through the haze of fitful sleep, followed by a sudden sensation of warmth and a gentle pressure across your entire body. You soon fall into a deeper, easier slumber. Hades. Arrival. The doorknob clicks behind Asterion. A smile persists as he holds on to the warmth from this night. The Minotaur's cheeks hurt from smiling, an unfamiliar sensation after the decades locked away. His throat, too, is sore from talking. Whatever he tries to say only comes as a raspy croak now. His recovering body surprises him at times. How it doesn't hurt to move anymore. How quick he is even at a slow pace. This renewed strength surprises him. He had a difficult time handling the fragile glasses and small, delicate tools back in the lounge. Similarly, closing the door without slamming it behind him just now was tricky. And yet, now he's alone in his room. There was silence. And a silence like this, after any night when one's cheeks end up hurting from smiling, is as oppressive as being whisked away from paradise. Silence can be unforgivable. The master's voice and breathing, the slight shift in furniture as he moved around the room, the sounds of his own footsteps. It's all gone now. There are no eyes watching him, nothing to say or do in this barren bedroom. He lays on his bed, looking up to the ceiling. The bedroom has no windows, just the single light bulb shining overhead. Asterion swishes his tail. The tuft of hair at its end provides him with a single sound. He clutches his pillow beneath his head. His fingers contort to shaking fists, and the light imprints a stain on his eyes. The corners of his healed mouth hurt. It's been decades since he smiled this much. Left alone, there are no distractions from dark thoughts. About that master, and all humans for that matter. Humanity is a sentence by itself, he thinks. To only be half human, and to be ruled over by those I'll never be like. Minotaur wonders how large is the gap that keeps men from going wild. It's easy to show goodness at first, like Clement did, but eventually they grow bored. And bored men are dangerous indeed. How long will it take for this master to learn, the Minotaur wonders. It usually starts simple enough. At first he becomes their plaything, a doll. But it won't stop there. Humans seek new thrills often. Clement was a special case, a man who started out good but went wild like none before. But yes, there were many masters who had that same seed in them, only it germinated slower. Even Master Jean-Marie had it to an extent. There was that time. Asterion jolts up, stopping himself from progressing down that road. There are thoughts too dark for such a late hour. What does it matter now, thinking about the well-buried dead? His mind goes back to his current master. A single good night does not make up for a terrible past and a frightening future. Asterion thinks back to Argos and his contract, and how the master handled it. Master Alexius managed to trick the snake. Perhaps that should bring the Minotaur some relief. But the valley's monsters may not be an issue with an astute master, who knows a witty leader can bring dangers of his own. Water time. The smarter the master, the more dangerous he can become, and the worse the torments will be if the Minotaur ever displeases him. The Minotaur keeps thinking himself to exhaustion, analyzing every possibility regarding the new master. He does not notice drowsiness setting in, nor sleep's merciful embrace. The Minotaur dreams. A field of white flowers swayed under a chilly breeze. He was lying face down on the soil, and the flowers' stalks and leaves tickled his back as if trying to rouse him from sleep. The soil was damp, and it smelled of petrichor and dense vegetation. Asterion caressed it, scratched it, felt the sand's water seeping into his fur. Everything hurt. With every heartbeat, his head and eyes were hammered. His whole body burned in exhaustion, dizzy and nauseous. But above all, his neck. It burned as if searing hot metal wire strangled him. The Minotaur tried breathing. It was as if his lungs couldn't pull in any air. It would have made him despair if not for the overwhelming pain distracting him. Time passed. How long he could not tell. Asterion had only the soil, damp and aromatic, and the flowers swaying above him. He dug into the loamy ground. The coarse texture slipping around his fingers made the pain bearable. And then, a chill ran from his skull down his spine to the tip of his tail. He breathed a lungful of air, and he could hear his own ragged grunts of relief. The Minotaur flicked his ears as his full senses returned. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out the Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!